Men are moved by two levers only, fear and self-interest. Napoleon Bonaparte, they tell you everyone has good inside. A comforting lie for the weak. Predators know better. They see the world as it is, a landscape of opportunity and vulnerability. Some are sheep, some are wolves, and the wolves intend to eat, not because they are evil but because that is their nature. To deny this reality is to become prey. Empathy is a tool, not a virtue. They teach you to feel the pain of others. Predators learn to see opportunity in that pain. They understand that compassion can be weaponized. A sob story becomes leverage. A shared vulnerability becomes a bond of control. The predator doesn't lack empathy. They master it, then discard it when it no longer serves. Justice is a fiction. The world isn't fair. Good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. Predators don't wait for justice. They create their own. They understand that power comes from controlling the narrative, manipulating the system, and eliminating threats before they materialize. Relying on fairness is a fool's game. Hard work guarantees nothing. They tell you to grind, to hustle, to put in the hours. Predators know that effort alone is insufficient. They focus on leverage, on finding the choke points of power. They understand that a single well-placed move can be more effective than years of blind labor. They seek asymmetric advantages, where their effort yields disproportionate returns. Trust is a liability. They tell you to trust your instincts, to trust your friends, to trust the system. Predators trust no one. They verify. They validate. They operate on a need-to-know basis, sharing information only when it benefits them. They understand that trust is a vulnerability, a point of entry for manipulation and betrayal. Intentions don't matter. The world judges you by your actions, not your aspirations. Predators understand this. They focus on results, on achieving their objectives by any means necessary. They know that excuses are worthless, that only outcomes matter. They are judged by their success, and they are willing to do what it takes to succeed. Vulnerability is weakness. They tell you to be authentic, to embrace your flaws, to share your struggles. Predators conceal their vulnerabilities. They project strength and confidence, even when they are afraid. They understand that weakness invites exploitation, that vulnerability makes you a target. They show only the mask they want you to see. Forgiveness is surrender. They tell you to forgive and forget, to let go of grudges. Predators remember every slight, every betrayal. They understand that forgiveness is a form of weakness, that it allows their enemies to repeat their offenses with impunity. They hold grudges, not out of spite, but as a strategic imperative. Love is conditional. They romanticize love as unconditional, selfless, and pure. Predators understand that love is a transaction, a form of exchange. They offer affection and loyalty in return for power, status, or resources. They understand that love can be manipulated, that it can be used to control and influence others. The crowd is always wrong. They tell you to follow the herd, to conform to social norms, to seek validation from others. Predators reject the crowd. They think for themselves. They see the world from a different perspective, one that is unburdened by conventional wisdom. They understand that true power comes from independence of thought. The world is a game. They tell you that life is fair, that everyone has an equal chance, that good things happen to good people. Predators understand the game. They see the world as a chessboard where every person is a piece to be moved, sacrificed, or captured. They understand that the rules are made to be broken, that morality is a construct, and that the only thing that matters is winning. They play the game with ruthless efficiency, exploiting every advantage and showing no mercy to their opponents. They are strategists, always thinking several moves ahead, anticipating their opponent's actions and preparing for any contingency. Emotions are liabilities. They encourage you to embrace your feelings, to express your emotions openly, to let your heart guide your decisions. Predators suppress their emotions. They understand that emotions cloud judgment, that they make you predictable, and that they can be used against you. They cultivate a mask of calmness, even in the face of adversity. They observe others' emotions with detached curiosity, using them to gain insight into their vulnerabilities and weaknesses. They are masters of emotional manipulation, able to provoke, soothe, or deceive others at will. Trust is a weakness. They preach the importance of trust, of believing in the inherent goodness of others, of giving everyone the benefit of the doubt. Predators are inherently suspicious. They understand that trust is a luxury they cannot afford. They assume that everyone has an agenda, that everyone is trying to take advantage of them. They verify everything, question everything, and trust no one implicitly. They build alliances based on mutual self-interest, not on blind faith. They understand that trust can be betrayed, that it can be used to disarm you, and that it can leave you vulnerable to attack. Loyalty is a tool. They valorize loyalty as a virtue, as a sign of commitment, as a bond that cannot be broken. Predators view loyalty as a means to an end. They understand that loyalty can be bought, sold, or manipulated. They demand absolute loyalty from their followers, but they offer it only when it serves their own interests. They are willing to betray anyone, even their closest allies, if it means advancing their own agenda. They understand that loyalty is a strategic advantage, that it can be used to build empires, and that it can be discarded when it becomes a liability. Appearance is reality. They tell you that it's what's on the inside that counts, that true beauty is found in character, that judging a book by its cover is superficial. Predators understand the power of perception. They cultivate an image of success, competence, and confidence. They dress the part, speak the part, and act the part. They understand that people are easily swayed by appearances, that they are more likely to trust someone who looks the part, even if they are deceitful. They use their appearance to manipulate others, to gain access to opportunities, and to project an aura of invincibility. The truth is subjective. They tell you that truth is absolute, that it is objective, that it can be discovered through reason and logic. Predators understand that truth is malleable. They know that it can be bent, twisted, or fabricated to suit their needs. They are masters of deception, able to spin narratives that support their agenda, even if they are based on lies. They understand that people are more likely to believe what they want to believe, and that they can be manipulated by appeals to their emotions and biases. They use the manipulation of truth as a weapon to control the narrative, to discredit their enemies, and to maintain their power. Kindness is exploitation. They tell you to be kind, to be compassionate, to help those in need. Predators see kindness as an opportunity. They understand that people are more likely to trust someone who is kind, that they are more likely to lower their guard, and that they are more likely to be taken advantage of. They feign kindness to gain trust, to manipulate others into doing their bidding, and to extract resources from them. They are wolves in sheep's clothing, using kindness as a disguise to conceal their true intentions. Hope is a delusion. They tell you to never give up hope, to believe in a better future, to keep striving for your dreams. Predators understand the power of despair. They know that hope can be a weakness, that it can blind you to reality, and that it can prevent you from taking necessary action. They understand that most people cling to hope, even in the face of overwhelming odds, and they exploit this tendency to their advantage. They crush their opponents' hopes, leaving them demoralized and vulnerable. They understand that despair can be a powerful motivator, that it can drive people to do things they would never otherwise consider. Justice is an illusion. They tell you that the system is fair, that justice will prevail, that the guilty will be punished, and the innocent will be protected. Predators understand that justice is a game of power. They know that the system is rigged in favor of the powerful, that the wealthy and influential can escape justice, and that the poor and vulnerable are often victimized. They use the legal system to their advantage, exploiting loopholes, hiring expensive lawyers, and manipulating the media. They understand that justice is not about what is right, but about who has the power to define what is right. The past is irrelevant. They encourage you to focus on the present, to let go of the past, to move forward without dwelling on regrets. Predators understand the importance of history. They study the past, learning from the mistakes and triumphs of others. They know that the past can be used to predict the future, to understand patterns of behavior, and to anticipate potential threats. They use historical knowledge to inform their strategies, to avoid repeating past mistakes, and to gain a competitive advantage. Innocence is a fairy tale. They tell you to protect your innocence, to remain pure of heart, to believe in the goodness of humanity. Predators understand that innocence is naivete. They know that the world is a dangerous place, that people are capable of great cruelty, and that naivety makes you vulnerable. They shed their innocence early in life, becoming hardened by experience and learning to survive in a harsh environment. They understand that innocence is a liability, that it can be exploited by others, and that it must be replaced with vigilance and skepticism. Empathy is a weakness. They preach the virtues of empathy, urging you to understand and share the feelings of others. They present empathy as a sign of moral superiority, a quality that distinguishes the compassionate from the cold-hearted. Predators understand that empathy is a vulnerability. They recognize that the ability to feel another's pain can be weaponized, used to manipulate and control. They may feign empathy to gain your trust, to lower your defenses, but they do not truly feel it. Their own emotions are often muted, distorted, or absent, replaced by a calculating detachment that allows them to exploit others without remorse. They see empathy as a drain on resources, a distraction from their goals, and a weakness to be purged. Consider the case of the corporate raider, systematically dismantling companies for profit, heedless of the lives ruined in the process. He may shed crocodile tears for the displaced workers, but his actions betray a profound lack of empathy, a willingness to sacrifice human well-being for personal gain. Honesty is a virtue. They tell you to always be honest, to speak your mind, to be true to yourself. They promote honesty as the foundation of trust and healthy relationships, the cornerstone of a virtuous life. Predators understand that honesty is a handicap. They recognize that truth is a constraint, that it limits their options and exposes their intentions. They are masters of deception, adept at crafting convincing lies, twisting narratives, and manipulating perceptions. They understand the power of carefully chosen words, the subtle art of omission, and the effectiveness of plausible deniability. They use lies to gain advantage, to protect themselves, and to control others. Consider the politician who promises to serve the public interest while secretly lining his own pockets through corruption and bribery. His words are carefully crafted to appeal to voters, but his actions reveal a profound dishonesty, a willingness to betray the public trust for personal enrichment. Rules are meant to be followed. They emphasize the importance of rules, urging you to obey laws, respect authority, and adhere to social norms. They present rules as the foundation of order and stability, the framework that prevents chaos and ensures fairness. Predators understand that rules are for fools. They recognize that rules are often arbitrary, selectively enforced, and easily manipulated. They are adept at finding loopholes, exploiting ambiguities, and bending the rules to their advantage. They understand that power lies in the ability to circumvent restrictions, to operate outside the bounds of conventional morality, and to impose their will on others. Consider the Wall Street banker who engages in insider trading, profiting from privileged information while evading regulatory oversight. He may pay lip service to ethical conduct, but his actions demonstrate a profound disregard for the rules, a willingness to cheat and deceive to accumulate wealth and power. Fairness is paramount. They preach the importance of fairness, urging you to treat everyone equally, to give everyone a fair chance, and to strive for justice. They present fairness as a fundamental principle, the cornerstone of a just and equitable society. Predators understand that fairness is a myth. They recognize that life is inherently unfair, that some people are born with advantages that others lack, and that the pursuit of fairness is often a futile exercise. They are not concerned with equality or justice, only with achieving their own goals, regardless of the consequences for others. They may pay lip service to fairness to appease the masses, but their actions reveal a profound disregard for the well-being of those around them. Consider the ruthless entrepreneur who crushes his competitors through predatory pricing, driving them out of business and monopolizing the market. He may claim to be creating value for consumers, but his actions demonstrate a profound lack of fairness, a willingness to exploit others to achieve his own ambitions. Loyalty is essential. They tell you to be loyal to your friends, your family, your country, and your company. They present loyalty as a virtue, a sign of commitment and dedication, the foundation of strong relationships and stable communities. Predators understand that loyalty is a burden. They recognize that loyalty can be exploited, that it can blind you to the faults of those you are loyal to, and that it can prevent you from making rational decisions. They are often disloyal themselves, willing to betray anyone who stands in their way, regardless of past allegiances. They may demand loyalty from others, but they rarely reciprocate it. Consider the corrupt politician who demands unwavering loyalty from his subordinates, while secretly plotting to undermine them and advance his own career. He may preach the importance of loyalty, but his actions reveal a profound lack of commitment, a willingness to sacrifice others for personal gain. Forgiveness is divine. They encourage you to forgive those who have wronged you, to let go of grudges, and to move on with your life. They present forgiveness as a sign of strength, a path to healing, and a way to break free from the cycle of resentment. Predators understand that forgiveness is foolish. They recognize that holding grudges can be a powerful motivator, that revenge can be a sweet reward, and that forgiveness can be seen as weakness. They rarely forgive those who have harmed them, preferring to hold on to their anger and seek retribution. They may feign forgiveness to disarm their enemies, but they never truly let go of their resentment. Consider the crime boss who never forgets a slight, meticulously plotting his revenge against those who have crossed him. He may pretend to forgive his enemies, but his actions reveal a profound lack of compassion, a willingness to inflict pain and suffering on those who have wronged him. The predator views the world as a chessboard, and people as pawns, sacrifices, and resources to be spent in service of his goals. He embraces the amoral calculus of power, discarding illusions of good and evil, right and wrong, in pursuit of his ambitions. The weak believe in fairness. They cling to the idea that the world operates according to a set of just and equitable rules, that merit will be rewarded, and that wrongdoing will be punished. They expect fairness from institutions, from other people, and even from fate itself. Predators know that fairness is a myth. They recognize that the world is chaotic, unpredictable, and fundamentally unjust. They see that success is often determined by luck, connections, and ruthlessness, rather than by talent or hard work. They understand that the powerful can bend the rules to their advantage, and that the weak are often exploited and oppressed. Consider the ambitious corporate executive who believes that his hard work and dedication will inevitably lead to a promotion. He may be shocked and disillusioned when he is passed over in favor of a less qualified candidate who is better connected or more willing to play political games. The predator views the world as a rigged game, and he is determined to win, regardless of the rules. He embraces the reality of power, discarding naive notions of fairness in pursuit of his objectives. The innocent are easily manipulated by appeals to fairness, allowing themselves to be placed at a disadvantage. They preach the virtue of collaboration. They champion teamwork, cooperation, and compromise, encouraging people to work together for the common good. They present collaboration as a win-win scenario, where everyone benefits from sharing their resources and expertise. Predators understand that collaboration is often a trap. They recognize that it can be used to exploit the skills and resources of others, to dilute responsibility, and to weaken individual initiative. They see that true power lies in controlling the collaborative process, in setting the agenda, and in extracting the maximum benefit for themselves. Consider the charismatic cult leader who uses group dynamics and peer pressure to manipulate his followers into sacrificing their time, money, and autonomy. He may preach the importance of unity and cooperation, but his actions reveal a profound lack of concern for the well-being of his followers, a willingness to exploit their vulnerabilities for his own selfish ends. The predator views relationships as transactional, and he is always looking for ways to maximize his return on investment. He embraces the art of manipulation, discarding sentimental notions of cooperation in pursuit of his own enrichment. Those who eagerly collaborate are frequently blind to the true motives of those who orchestrate the endeavor. The vulnerable believe in empathy. They value compassion, understanding, and sensitivity to the feelings of others. They strive to put themselves in other people's shoes, to understand their perspectives, and to respond with kindness and support. Predators understand that empathy is a liability. They recognize that it can cloud judgment, weaken resolve, and make them vulnerable to manipulation. They see that empathy can be used to exploit their weaknesses, to guilt-trip them, and to manipulate them into doing things they don't want to do. Consider the con artist who uses sob stories and emotional appeals to swindle unsuspecting victims out of their money. He may feign empathy and concern for their well-being, but his actions reveal a profound lack of genuine compassion, a willingness to exploit their emotions for his own personal gain. The predator views emotions as tools to be manipulated, and he is adept at using them to control others. He embraces the power of emotional manipulation, discarding genuine empathy in pursuit of his objectives. Those who are easily moved by appeals to emotion are easily led astray. They celebrate authenticity. They encourage people to be true to themselves, to express their feelings openly, and to live in accordance with their values. They present authenticity as a path to self-discovery, personal fulfillment, and genuine connection with others. Predators understand that authenticity is a weakness. They recognize that it can expose their vulnerabilities, limit their options, and make them predictable. They see that true power lies in mastering the art of deception, in adapting to different situations, and in presenting a carefully crafted persona to the world. Consider the master spy who assumes different identities and personalities to infiltrate enemy organizations and gather intelligence. He may appear to be authentic and sincere, but his actions reveal a profound lack of genuine self, a willingness to betray his own values for the sake of his mission. The predator views the self as a mask to be worn and discarded as needed, and he is adept at creating convincing facades. He embraces the art of deception, discarding naive notions of authenticity in pursuit of his goals. Those who are preoccupied with being true to themselves are easily outmaneuvered by those who are masters of disguise. The naive trust authority. They respect hierarchical structures, obey the rules, and defer to those in positions of power. They believe that authority figures have their best interests at heart and that they will act justly and fairly. Predators understand that authority is a tool. They recognize that it can be used to control, manipulate, and exploit others. They see that authority figures are often motivated by self-interest, ambition, and a desire to maintain their power. They understand that blind obedience can lead to oppression, injustice, and even atrocity. Consider the corrupt government official who uses his position to enrich himself and his cronies, while exploiting the resources and people of his country. He may claim to be acting in the best interests of the nation, but his actions reveal a profound lack of integrity, a willingness to abuse his power for personal gain. The predator views authority as a resource to be exploited, and he is adept at using it to control others. He embraces the reality of power dynamics, discarding naive notions of trust in pursuit of his objectives. Those who blindly obey authority are easily led into servitude. The kind promote trust. They believe in giving people the benefit of the doubt, in assuming good intentions, and in building relationships based on mutual respect and honesty. They present trust as a cornerstone of a healthy society, a foundation for cooperation, and a key to personal fulfillment. Predators understand that trust is a vulnerability. They recognize that it can be exploited to gain access to resources, information, and opportunities. They see that trusting individuals are often naive, gullible, and easily manipulated. They understand that broken trust can be devastating, but that it can also be a powerful weapon. Consider the double agent who betrays the trust of his colleagues and friends to spy for the enemy. He may feign loyalty and affection, but his actions reveal a profound lack of genuine commitment, a willingness to sacrifice his relationships for the sake of his mission. The predator views trust as a tool to be used and discarded, and he is adept at using it to manipulate others. He embraces the art of deception, discarding naive notions of trust in pursuit of his goals. Those who readily offer their trust are easily betrayed. The truly competent rely on verification, not faith. They seek compromise. They believe in finding common ground, in negotiating solutions that satisfy everyone's needs, and in avoiding conflict whenever possible. They present compromise as a mature and responsible approach to problem solving, a way to build consensus and maintain harmony. Predators understand that compromise is often a concession. They recognize that it can be used to weaken their position, to dilute their demands, and to give their opponents an advantage. They see that true power lies in dominating negotiations, in imposing their will on others, and in achieving their objectives without making unnecessary concessions. Consider the ruthless negotiator who uses intimidation, threats, and manipulation to get what he wants, without giving anything in return. He may feign a willingness to compromise, but his actions reveal a profound lack of genuine interest in finding a mutually agreeable solution, a willingness to exploit the weaknesses of his opponents to achieve his own ends. The predator views negotiation as a battle of wills, and he is determined to win at all costs. He embraces the art of domination, discarding naive notions of compromise in pursuit of his objectives. Those who eagerly seek compromise often end up surrendering their principles. Victory belongs to those who dictate the terms. Finally, the lost seek approval. They crave validation, recognition, and acceptance from others. They strive to please people, to avoid criticism, and to conform to social norms. They present seeking approval as a way to build relationships, to gain status, and to feel valued. Predators understand that the need for approval is a lever. They recognize that it can be used to manipulate, control, and exploit others. They see that people who seek approval are often insecure, vulnerable, and easily influenced. They understand that the desire for acceptance can lead to conformity, self-censorship, and even self-destruction. Consider the insecure employee who works tirelessly to please his boss, even at the expense of his own health and well-being. He may believe that his efforts will be rewarded with recognition and promotion, but his actions reveal a profound lack of self-worth, a willingness to sacrifice his own needs for the sake of external validation. The predator views the need for approval as a weakness to be exploited, and he is adept at using it to control others. He embraces the art of manipulation, discarding naive notions of seeking approval in pursuit of his objectives. Those who desperately seek approval are easily enslaved by the opinions of others. True freedom lies in indifference to the judgments of the herd. Predators understand that most individuals are governed by emotion, not reason. They see the world as a chessboard where feelings are pieces to be moved and sacrificed. While the masses cling to the illusion of rational decision-making, predators perceive the hidden currents of fear, desire, and vanity that drive human behavior. They learn to bypass logic and appeal directly to these primal instincts, crafting narratives that resonate with deeply held beliefs and anxieties. A skilled predator does not argue or persuade. He subtly guides his target's emotions, leading them to a predetermined conclusion that serves his own agenda. He understands that people are far more likely to act based on how they feel, rather than what they think. This emotional leverage becomes a powerful tool in their arsenal. They recognize that logic is merely a veneer, easily cracked by a carefully placed emotional charge. They know how to sow seeds of doubt, ignite passions, and exploit insecurities to control the narrative and ultimately, the outcome. The predator studies these patterns, mastering the art of emotional manipulation. He doesn't seek to change minds through reasoned debate, but rather to influence actions through emotional manipulation. They also recognize the power of scarcity. The human mind assigns greater value to things that are rare, limited, or difficult to obtain. Predators exploit this psychological bias by creating artificial scarcity, making their targets believe that opportunities are fleeting and that they must act quickly to avoid missing out. This can manifest in various forms, from limited-time offers to exclusive access to information or resources. The predator understands that the fear of loss is a potent motivator, often overriding rational judgment. He uses this fear to create a sense of urgency, pushing his targets to make impulsive decisions that benefit him. He presents his proposition as a unique and unrepeatable opportunity, subtly implying that failure to act now will result in permanent regret. The victim, caught in the grip of scarcity-induced anxiety, is far more likely to overlook potential risks and flaws, blinded by the perceived urgency of the situation. The predator masterfully manipulates the perception of availability, turning a basic psychological principle into a weapon of influence. He understands that true value is often an illusion, and that the mere perception of scarcity can be enough to sway even the most cautious minds. Furthermore, predators are masters of observation. They carefully study their targets, paying close attention to their words, actions, and body language. They seek to identify vulnerabilities, insecurities, and hidden desires. This meticulous observation allows them to tailor their approach, crafting a personalized strategy that maximizes their chances of success. They understand that everyone has a weakness, a chink in their armor that can be exploited. The predator acts as a silent hunter, patiently gathering information before striking. He does not rush into action, but instead takes the time to understand his prey. He seeks to uncover their deepest fears, their unfulfilled ambitions, and their unmet needs. Once he has identified these vulnerabilities, he can then craft a narrative that appeals directly to them, offering a solution to their problems or a pathway to their desires. This personalized approach is far more effective than a generic sales pitch or a blanket appeal. The predator recognizes the importance of understanding his target, viewing it as a crucial step in the process of control. He gathers information, analyzes behavior, and identifies weaknesses. Predators also use the concept of social proof. People are naturally inclined to follow the crowd, to look to others for guidance on how to behave in uncertain situations. Predators exploit this tendency by creating the illusion of widespread support for their ideas or actions. They may use testimonials, endorsements, or manufactured evidence to convince their targets that others have already embraced their proposition, making it seem safer and more desirable. This manipulation of social norms can be highly effective, especially in group settings where individuals are more likely to conform to perceived consensus. The predator understands that people are inherently social creatures, driven by a desire to fit in and be accepted. He uses this desire to his advantage, creating an artificial sense of popularity and acceptance around his ideas. He knows that people are more likely to trust something that appears to be widely accepted, even if they don't fully understand it. This can be particularly effective in manipulating large groups, where individuals may be hesitant to question the prevailing opinion. He creates the illusion of widespread support, turning the natural human desire for social acceptance into a tool of influence. He fabricates evidence, manufactures consensus, and utilizes social pressure to sway the opinions and behaviors of his targets. Finally, predators recognize the power of calculated risk. They are not reckless gamblers, but rather strategic thinkers who carefully weigh the potential rewards against the potential consequences. They are willing to take calculated risks when they believe the odds are in their favor, but they are also adept at minimizing their exposure to danger. They understand that success often requires taking chances, but they are always mindful of the potential downsides. The predator embraces a mindset of calculated risk, viewing it as a necessary ingredient for achieving his goals. He is not afraid to take chances, but he does so with careful consideration and a clear understanding of the potential consequences. He assesses the situation, weighs the probabilities, and calculates the optimal course of action. He understands that success often requires a degree of boldness, but he also knows when to retreat and regroup. The predator approaches risk with a cold, detached rationality, viewing it as a tool to be used strategically, not a force to be feared or avoided.